Hello class, today's lesson is about Chinese and Korean influences. And our target is that I can describe the influence China and Korea had on Japanese culture. Now, by looking at this map, we can see that Japan is made up of four major islands. They start up here in the north with Hokkaido. This is the northernmost island in Japan, and then you've got these larger, actually the largest island called Honshu, where modern-day Tokyo, the capital of Japan, is located. And you have the island of Shikoku and the island of Kyushu. Now, Japan is separated from Asia by this big body of water, the Sea of Japan and the Korea Strait. This is the closest to Asia Japan actually is, if you ignore this portion right up here in the north. Now, China had a huge influence on countries in Eastern Asia. They even influenced Korean culture. At the time period that we were studying, North and South Korea were all considered one kingdom. Now, Japan originally developed their own culture unique. We discussed about how the Japanese religion of Shinto originated on the islands, and Shinto is indigenous to Japan. But later on, members of the Japanese government wanted to emulate or copy the things that they've heard about in China and Korea. Now, one of the things they wanted to copy or emulate was their writing style. So just by looking at these two images, can you tell which one is Chinese and which one is Japanese? Well, I sure can't. I'm a, English speaker. I write the English language, and even though I'm your teacher, if you showed me both of these images and just asked me out of the blue which one's Chinese and Japanese, I wouldn't be able to tell you the difference. But I do know that once I've Googled it, I Googled Japanese writing and Chinese writing, and I was able to get the images and put them here in the PowerPoint. The whole point of this is to show you that the Japanese, once they started adopting Chinese ideas, they basically took the Chinese style of writing and applied it to Japanese. So modern day Japanese, while it's a totally different language, and people who can write and read in Japanese, they can definitely tell that there's a difference. You can still see that there's very close similarities. And to answer the questions, the one here on the right is Japanese, and the one here on the left is Chinese. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you guys remember which is which. It's more important to know that the Chinese influenced Japanese style writing. Another way that Korea influenced Japan is that Buddhism came from Korea. Historians have found documents where Buddhist missionaries from Korea traveled to Japan to spread their religion. And as you can see here, these are two images from Japan. This right here is a statue of the Buddha. Very familiar. You guys have seen these from pictures in the 6th grade. And here is a follower of Japanese Buddhism. Now, the Japanese, even though they borrowed or adopted Buddhist ideas from Korea, they later added their own unique cultural aspects to it, and so that the Buddhism practiced in Japan may not be the exact same type of Buddhism that was practiced in China or in Korea. You can also see the similarities in the architecture of the Buddhist temples. What conclusion can you draw based on these two images? This might be a sample question you would see on the test. But looking at the images, right here on the left is a Buddhist temple in Korea, and the one on the right is one from Japan. Now, they're different. The one on the right is 2 stories. You can see that there are 2 tiers to the roofs. The one from Korea, there's only one roof, so it's 1 story, but you can see the similarities. The roofs have a very similar structure, and they've got pillars right here in the front. And you can even see right here, this is writing from Korea. So since Korea is connected to China, as you can see in the map, Korean writing was also influenced by the Chinese. Now, how did this happen? Well, it started because of Prince Shotoku and his constitution. Prince Shotoku was a regent. Basically, a regent is somebody who rules in the place of a king or queen when they're not able to. And his aunt was the empress, the female version of an emperor. And Prince Shotoku, he pretty much had the political power, the government power in Japan. And he was a big fan of Chinese ideas. So he sent envoys and ambassadors to China. Now, envoys and ambassadors, another way of saying this is they're like foreign representatives. They are people from one country who go to another to learn from or speak for their home country. And he wanted to learn everything he could about China. Through these ambassadors and envoys, he was able to bring back the Confucian ideas into Japanese government. He wanted to promote the idea that you could get a job in the government through merit, or basically, if you knew how to do the job, if you were educated enough, could show that you were morally responsible, following the teachings of Confucianism. Prince Shotoku wanted the government to look like that. However, he never really got the civil service exam started. Now, another thing that he introduced was the writing style. Oh, sorry there, I got interrupted. I was at right here. After Shotoku had his ideas, let me go ahead and enlarge this. He brought over writing, and we do know that because underneath Prince Shotoku's government, he wrote Japan's first history in Chinese. In fact, all government documents were written in Chinese starting in this time period. He also is a devout Buddhist. He wanted to make sure that there were Buddhist shrines all over Japan, and during the time of his rule, that began to happen. He also wanted to make sure that Japan's emperor was to have total authority. He wanted Japan's emperor to be just like China's emperor. So that is the end of this lesson. Thank you.